Accept your death.
So I noticed at work the other day that I had kind of like almost like a limp going on my left foot. And I was thinking, well, that's weird. I don't remember doing anything to like my ankle. It kind of felt like I almost like twisted an ankle or something, just like very, very minorly or whatever, right? And I was kind of mentioning it to one of my coworkers, and she's like, well, yeah, you've been rocking that ragged ass pair of DCs for like 3.5 years now. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess these are pretty old. I might want to think about retiring them. So just
your soles don't ever wear out. That's usually when I buy new shoes, is when one inevitably gets a hole worn in the bottom or something.
It hasn't happened to these ones yet, and they've seen some shit. Like, they are dusty, they are covered in paint. Like, they're throwaway shoes, right? Like, I work at a paint store, they're gonna get super duper dirty.
Right,
so
right.
Really care.
Can I also say I'm glad you started talking about your ankle after you set it up with the whole limp thing? You know. Carry on.
Fair enough. So anyways, I have my backup pair of shoes that I wore, and I wore those the next day just as kind of a test, and I was totally fine. It was like nothing had ever. There's still like a little bit of a linger, but like it was a night and day difference. And like it's just one of those things where I'm just such a creature of habit. Like, I'm getting ready's on, being in the morning, showering, getting my work clothes on, grab my work shoes, go to work. That I don't even realize that I'm basically walking on two little thin sheets of plastic for 8 hours a day. So those
it's
shoes,
easy to take things for granted, right? Becomes very passive.
Yeah, because like I've talked about this before, I'm very much a set and forget kind of person, you know? So like, yeah, my work clothes, same pair of shoes every day in the exact same spot, put them on, go to work. So then like mixing that up is kind of a challenge for me, you know? But like, I just tip my new shoes, put them in the same spot, get rid of the old shoes, get out of here. I actually didn't throw them away. I think I'm going to relegate them to my skateboarding shoes for how often I go skateboarding these days. But it's just one of those things that I didn't really ever think of. You know, I used to be like so obsessed with shoes when I was younger that I like never really had a chance to wear out my shoes. And now as I'm older, especially for something like work shoes, I'm just like, nah, take it or leave it, whatever it is.
I've never been a shoe person. I've always been it's like I'm not a car person either, right? I just need something to get from point A to point B, and that's how I feel about shoes. Like, I want them to look cool. I buy like these black on black Adidas, whatever.
Okay.
It feels so weird to say Adidas, even though that's like the right way.
Police
Because we just say
Adidas.
Adidas. Yeah, police Adidas. Yeah,
I've always said Adidas. I didn't even know that's supposed to be pronounced. Are you memeing on me right now?
It's German. No, it's German. And I was reminded of it because I was just watching how Americans pronounce German words. Americans and Canadians, like North Americans, pronounce German words and stuff. Dankeschön, you know, stuff like that. Anyway, what are your new shoes?
My new shoes are Crocs.
Really?
Actually, yeah, they are. They're like traditional Crocs. I don't know. I'll see if I can post a picture in the Discord later or something. But they're
nah, you don't need to.
They're super duper comfy though. Like, it's like walking on a sponge pretty much. So I just had them kicking around the house. I think I was gonna buy them as a joke one time, and I was like, hey, what if I bought these Crocs, son? And my son's like, yeah, actually, people say they're pretty comfy. So I bought them, and I was like, yeah, actually, these are pretty comfy.
Now you're wearing them unironically?
Yeah, it's like how we all started saying hell yeah, brother, is like a meme, and now we just kind of unironically say it all the time.
You need I don't know, like one of those Big Lebowski kind of like lounger robe things or whatever.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That's the next step.
That's the logical next step. Just like the logical next step in the podcast is to check out the comments. Whoa, let's go.
Let's go.
We got to be one of the most longest running Mortal Kombat podcasts going right now. 67 Maybe. Weeks. 67 weeks. We're creeping up on the meme number, don't you know?
What's the meme number?
69. Nice.
Nice.
We'll have to do something special for that. Or maybe not. I don't know. Anyways.
Better be careful about what we do.
Yeah, we don't want to get kicked off the platform or anything. So, first comment here, Necromancer0616 says avocado is meant mostly for guacamole, which is a little spicy and has a bit of zip to it from other add-ins like cilantro. Hope this helps. So I don't know if it's just the region that I live in, but people put avocado in things like it's going out of style. Like they'll have it in sandwiches, they'll have it on toast, they'll put it in wraps, they'll put it in salads. They'll do like I've seen it on pizza before, which is disgusting to me, but like, hey, you do you, you know. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. So hearing that is made mostly for guacamole is, I mean, we have guacamole here too, but I just see it used for so many other things. It's just a very, very popular, whatever it is, fruit, vegetable, legume.
I think it's very popular in general, and you see it. I like buy these kind of pre-made salads sometimes. They always come with like half an avocado in there that I always just like throw away because I just like never eat it. Right? It is like everywhere. You find it most commonly, I feel like, in guacamole because that's when it becomes palatable for people that eat that don't like it like regular. But I agree. Like out here, it's sandwiches, salads. It's like a staple for all that sort of stuff. Gross.
Yeah, not my jam. I don't mind guacamole, I will say. But that's got that cilantro gene, so that's that part's not really my jam. So it is what it is. But thanks for the comment. Good comment. Appreciate it. Next one here, Henlix. This is like a 3-part comment here. Will Dark Dink return? Probably, but I think he's just decided to sit out MK1 in general. He made an appearance here and there, little eye lasers thing, but I think he's just going to sit out MK1. Not the game for him. Can he still kickflip?
Really?
Yeah. It's just, I had a little chat with him, a little heart to heart one day, and just, felt that it wasn't the game. The Homelander hype was real. Homelander hype with the eye lasers ended up being pretty underwhelming. So
yeah,
but we'll see.
All right.
Kickflip, probably like a 1 in 12 kind of attempts these days, but they are still there. Not the most stylish ones you've ever seen, but still in the was it in the barrel or whatever the kids are saying these days. And then thoughts on the Virtua Fighter gameplay. I actually watched it just before we did the podcast here, and I gotta say that game looks ridiculous. If those are like the end game graphics, that's so sick looking, and I think a look like that is exactly what that type of game needs to like kick off, because it's never been like the most popular fighter out of all of them, but it's always been like a really solid one, right? Like always like really strong fundamentals. You got different like actual fighting styles, going on, and like cool characters, and no crazy magic or projectiles or anything like that. So I think it looks super duper cool, and I'm excited to follow along more with it. And I might cover some more stuff for my channel too for Virtua Fighter. So especially in this in between time until the next NRS game. Sorry, go ahead there, Hater.
It looks so good that a lot of people are calling it fake, like pre-rendered, like CG sort of thing. They had already released something like that when they, first announced the game. All of that stuff was like, choreographed, just kind of showing off the animations and stuff and like what it'll look like. But this was all in engine. Maximilian dude did a whole video kind of breaking it down frame by frame, showing all the unrendered and janky stuff that's still happening, like limbs going through other bodies and stuff, things that, if you're going to pre-render anything and try to, lie to people, you'd probably take care of that sort of thing. So there's lots of little blemishes and stuff. It's still in development, but it looks very, very good.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I definitely agree with you. And I'm excited to dive into it. I was Wolf and Shundi main in the last time that I played it, so I don't know what the roster looked like. From what I understand, it doesn't usually change that much. They usually like add a character or two, but they don't usually remove them from my memory of the series. But I'm no expert. I played it very, very casually. I went to a local once and I got second. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Kept apologizing to my friend because they wanted to go, but I just kept winning. It's like, I don't know why I'm winning, but I'm getting up there. So And then last comment here from Burrito Voorhees. I'll leave this one up on screen because many thoughts here. But the main part talking about the fatal blow intos is the term, and don't want to deal with more full screen fatals like Sector Cameo, and that's kind of want to touch on that one first because guess what? You still do, but it's a high, so you can duck it. So,
but otherwise it tracks. Like if you're in the air, it still tracks you.
Does it? Actually, that part I didn't know.
I thought I saw the track. I was like, oh man, okay, that was what was so cool about it, is that it tracked. I didn't even test. I'm guilty of not spending very much time with the patch yet. I checked out a couple Quan things, but I didn't go and look at everything. But I was watching, what did I have up streaming, and someone's using Sector Cameo. That may have been VOD review of old footage, but I thought it still tracked and hit somebody in the air. I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what the point of the tracking would be if it's they made it a high. Because like if it tracks,
maybe it only tracks up, right? You can duck underneath it.
True. That's what they showed in the little patch note video was Baraka diving underneath it with his blade charge. Coming on in hot. But yeah, so the patch hit this week unexpectedly, like late in like the evening, kind of. Like I think it was like 5 or 6 my time, something like that, when they actually like launched the first video about it. We were talking earlier about how Honeybee put out a video and like 2 hours later it hit. He's like, well, guess that video is done for.
Yeah, it was funny. I didn't even watch the video. I hadn't seen any of his videos, but they were both in my feed, right? And I had seen the one, and then like an hour later, people were talking about it in the Discord. And I thought that was like, I was like, oh, I guess I don't need to watch that Honeybee video.
Yeah, no, it was interesting to see kind of everyone's reaction to the patch notes video and all the changes and whatnot. And I guess the first thing that we kind of want to go over is it seems that like this patch, and I'm assuming probably future patches, they're just going to be tweaks. Like it's hotfix type of material. They're not adding new moves, anything like that. It's just going to be like frame data tweaks and that kind of a thing is probably what we're going to be seeing, because that's all that this one was really, if I look at the notes.
Frame data and attack properties and things that they can just tweak on the back end. Like because we see them hotfix in between patches and stuff too, right? And it's always like some sort of frame data adjustment. Like, you know, Farah's forward throw went from like 17 down to 7 or something like that. And damage scaling, things like that, they've done through there. But so as people have been saying, like no more content, and I don't nothing that would require a patch that would go through like the PlayStation Store, the Xbox Store, Steam, anything like that. Just stuff that they can tweak on the back end, I'm sure is all that we're going to see moving forward.
Some interesting changes,
which we speculated, right?
Yeah, totally. And like one, because I think we were saying we're going to have this one, and then the consensus from what I've seen is like one after Final Combat to kind of like seal the game, you know, like, all right, this is the game you have now.
Right, but nothing crazy, like no new moves or redesigns or anything like that.
No, that would be quite the way to end the game, but I don't expect anything like that at all. So, some interesting changes, kind of switching up the meta here. The two big ones that come to mind first are Havoc and T1000. So Havoc, the first hit of his a flesh wound, it says, now hits mid, and the second hit is now overhead, was mid. So that one, if I believe that one was the one that had that annoying, like super quick, like mix up where you could go overhead or low. And it just kind of looks like they've moved that to like the end of the string now, where you still have that same mix up, but you just have a little bit more time to prepare for it coming, because that's a pretty good string to begin with. And
what's the low in the mix up? The scoop?
Yeah, the scoop, and then the overhead from the string. So, which I still think is pretty good mix up off of that string. Like Havoc has really good like forward advancing stuff. So I mean, seems like they wanted to tone that down just a little bit, and then they made that same with the little low kick unsafe as well as
both
12.
Both back to 2 extensions got nerfed, right? The kick is now punishable on block, and the throw has more scaling if you use a cameo to combo it.
Yep. Yep. So like, I don't think this is like killing the character by any means. I think this is pretty good balance all around.
Equalize the character, but they still did kind of rob him of the leash, right? Because
Yeah,
they nerfed it to compensate for what they had buffed about it, and then they took away that part of it, or you can only do it in fatal blow range now. It's like it's definitely worse than it was just when the game launched.
totally. Yeah, it's not really worth using. And again, most times when I do see people use it, I think we saw it used at Evo once and it just got completely negated. I don't remember what the context was, but I just remember seeing it and then be like, oh yeah, no.
Didn't they bring out it was Movado or Tremor, and they brought out just the ambushed body block, the snap or something?
Right.
Is that what happened?
I think so. I think you're right. So that's that was sad. So I'm still not really sure why he would use that tether, I guess. I guess it's a good Hail Mary at the F, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe someone will make it work. I don't know. And then T1000 lost the overhead in his 4-3-4-3-4 string. So now it's a mid. So now you don't have that 11 frame overhead low mix to kind of worry about. It's just the low
But
and
he
the
still has
grab.
grab. And if you've been reading what Tweety's been saying or watching any of his stuff about it, like it's a tight fuzzy, but it can be fuzzyable. So that's what he's worried about at like Final Combat if he's going to stick with this character, right? Because all the players of that caliber have a fuzzy like that down. It's not a very threatening mix-up. But it'll still do a lot of work for people up to and approaching like that level of gameplay.
Right. And you still have the low from like 3/4 screen into Movado into, big combo kind of a thing. So I mean, the utility of the character is there. I don't think he's like maybe top tier anymore. He's definitely going to be less annoying to fight against because yeah, I was watching Tweety stream the other day and he was talking about that same fuzzy about how you block low, then you release low, or you release block. That will cause the grab to whiff, and then you block again. And if it's the low, the second hit of the low will be blocked. So we kind of avoid both options there, which is kind of nifty. I don't know if that's kind of what NRS intended for that gap to work, but that's how I understand it to work. So not very threatening in the mix department, but I think more still has like really good buttons and really good spacing and like other utilities, but not brain dead mix character. And there's a whole crowd out there that want everybody to be that, and that's definitely not the same mindset that I have. I just want a nice, fun, balanced game to play where it's not playing the same stupid guessing game over and over again. But
so those were the only two characters that got nerfed, right? Some cameos did, and we'll get into that. But as far as every other change was a buff, right?
No, Cyrax and Sector both got hit too.
Oh, that's right.
So Cyrax's capture foam can't trade, so it's same as the Reiko stars now, right? So it's a little bit more of a clear advantage because I mean there wasn't really much fear for her to just throw out the foam in projectile wars and just hope that it hits, kind of idea.
Right. It does take the trade out of the equation, but she can still just confirm any hit, any stray hit, any anti-air into the foam and just get her game started. She doesn't need that trade, right? It just kind of like mellows out the threat of that a little bit at that sort of screen spacing.
Yeah, exactly. And then they also nerfed the amount of meter that she gains when she does her bombs, which shout out to Brown Boy. I think he mentioned that would be something that they need to change. We were in the Discord one day as he was just kind of showing me how much meter she's building as she's doing these combos anyways. And it's something like 25% less meter that she builds now, which I would say is fairly significant. So it has to be a little bit more careful about how she uses the meter, and then especially with her moves like her 2-bar meter steal, which I think that's an interesting way to balance that. I'm pretty happy with that. TBH.
Right, it'll give her less opportunities to do that. She may not have the bar, right, when she's in a position to do that.
Yeah, without completely wrecking her whole game plan of, kind of mix into bombs and all that kind of stuff. So I still think she's probably still top tier character, just a little less obnoxious now.
Slap on the wrist. Sonic said slap on the wrist. And
Yeah,
I'd agree with that, at least on paper.
Yeah, a lot of people had her as the best character in the game, and I didn't disagree. And I don't know if she's still there. We'll see how the meta shakes out, whatnot. And then Sector got a bunch of nerfs actually. So the airburst grenades no longer build meter on whiff, and they do 10 less damage. So just kind of a little tweak to her zoning again. Nothing that's going to kill the character. They kind of maybe killed Sector Motaro though, because the flamethrower now does 30 damage on hit, and then the second hit does 50, which was reversed to what it was before. So now if you cancel after that first hit, it's less damage than it was before. What that damage looks like, I haven't really tested it yet to see. So I'm not really sure if that really killed that pairing or not.
I haven't seen a comparison of the numbers, but just what they showed in the little patch video, it definitely looked like some scaling, and it was specifically the teleport. Is that what got nerfed when like the animation gets interrupted by an ambush, or is it like the teleport specifically?
No, it's the just the 2 hits of the flamethrower. So they switched the moves because before the first hit did 50 damage and the second hit did 30. So then you cancel it before the second hit, so you still get that 50 damage. So they just reverse that. So the first hit does 30, then you cancel it. So you would still get the same damage you would have pre-patch if you just finish the flamethrower, but if you interrupt
she can get those combos off an EX missile, can't she? And you're on fire as well.
It's true. Yeah, I don't think they made any change to that.
There was some other change that I saw. Maybe it wasn't her. I saw somebody doing some cameo stuff. It'll come to me as we keep talking about these, because I watched Mustard go through the patch a lot and experiment. Catch up and Mustard, we're in online practice mode together, just going through like all the stuff and just doing, the kind of stuff that they do against each other, trying to find like new stuff and workshopping ideas and all of that.
Right. There's a couple changes I didn't really understand. Conan's Barbarian Blitz and Barbarian Blade recover 5 frames faster on hit and miss. I wish I knew him better to know what these changes do. Atlantean Bulwark. That's
going to give him. It gives that combo ability.
That's kind of what I figured. Is that like it'll kind of open him up to some more cameos and that kind of a thing. 4th hit has 7 more frames of hit advantage, so it seems like you could maybe combo from that more or something. Because basically he needed the cameo in order to combo. So maybe this opens up something else for him to... I don't know the specifics of what that change was. So maybe someone that was there knows a little more about Conan than I do. You could let me know. Another one that feels like doing us a favor rather than making any changes is this Ermac change. Behind you releases opponent 10 frames sooner. Because it doesn't actually change like his combo pathing, but it makes it so you're not staring at it as long, which is kind of nice.
Right. People were speculating that, maybe Janet wasn't going to have enough recharge time or something, but he's still breaking 600, like no problemo. It's just, it doesn't take as long. You're not like watching a movie every time he has a barf meter and full cameo and opens you up.
Yeah. So I guess that's good. Shang Tsung has some interesting ones. They gave him some plus frames, which is cool. I get that. And then I saw the spin kick can now be special canceled and does 50 damage, so it does less damage. But when I was watching, I saw a clip on Twitter that if you're even spaced just the littlest bit incorrectly, it won't combo into the ground skull. It'll just knock them away. So it's like, what's the point if you can't actually like combo this without, a certain cameo or something, which would be throwing the cameo.
Do you think that's something they could change? What if they were like, oh, that's a good point. Do you think that's something that they can change on the back end? Is that a matter of just tweaking some numbers that they can hotfix, or would they have to patch something like that? Like, can they adjust hit boxes and hurt boxes, or projectile positioning and speed and all of that? I'm sure they can.
I'm sure they have a way of doing that. I'm sure that they are kind of paying attention for the first few days after a update is released to just have a trigger on that, like, whoops, we accidentally put in an infinite, that kind of a thing, so they can fix it. So maybe that could be one of the things that they look at, because it still can combo, but if you're even spaced just the littlest way off, or if you go for a whiff punish or something, it won't combo. So I found that kind of interesting. Not sure those are the changes that Shang Tsung needed, but the changes he got. The reptile changes. 2 strings are now safe, which I saw Honeybee's reaction. I think it was Poseidon as well. They were both like, thank you, I guess. Like,
right.
Not really the changes.
Because they're unsafe on flawless block, so now they're safe on flawless block even. Like, they're just trying to encourage people to use the buttons more. It's probably like a really easy flawless block, isn't it? And they just took away the punishable flawless block thing for his EX dash last patch or the patch before, didn't they?
Yep. Yeah, they did. So that's definitely interesting changes. Not really. Yeah, the reptile community seemed pretty underwhelmed by them. So I don't know if what that says about that, but I don't play reptile, so I don't care. He still is annoying for Quan. I haven't fought one actually since the patch dropped, so it'll be interesting to see how that matchup goes, if it's still annoying or not. But giving a character more tools, whether it's indirectly or directly like that, is always welcome to me. And I think those strings, they kind of reach pretty far, so they're kind of like good neutral tools. He doesn't have to overcommit to a dash or something like that. So, but I'm just speculating. Homelander got a little slap on the wrist, increased combo damage scaling. That's from his grab, I think.
Yeah, so Sphera combos will be scaled.
Yeah, so
more.
Homelander I'm seeing less and less these days. I think, I don't know if this will be kind of the turning point for the players to kind of drop him, but I don't know what it was about him. I just started seeing less and less of him in the coming days. It took people a while to learn the matchup or whatnot, I'm not really sure, but Rain got a really good buff with the water beam starting out 3 frames faster. And I'm already seeing some pretty crazy stuff. Like his 114 cancel is like +4 on block, something like that. So that's crazy that the quote unquote premier zoner is becoming the rushdown cancel character.
Yeah, the way they kind of compromise is because he's got some like slow, probably stronger mid-screen zoning, but he has like the fully held thing that can stun, and he's got the puddles and all that sort of stuff. He's got like all these things, and you see people put all the pieces together. But yeah, I guess they decided to make him to kind of lean into he's a cancel pressure character, because he already had like the Kara cancel, the only character in the whole game, isn't he? With a Kara cancel like that. So I think that's cool. He's definitely has some unique identity.
Yeah, he's definitely, because Ermac has the cancels as well, but they don't feel the same as what Rain's doing, and especially since Rain is kind of using them in his combos and linking things as well, and then mixing those cancels in.
Right, and they have different movement and different like full screen options, and Ermac's got, well, it's kind of a meme, or Ermac's teleport, it has its uses and stuff, but he at least has I think Ermac cancels are way cooler. They're way harder to deal with, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he's building crazy meter as he's doing them too, because they're just so fast. They're just like,
the way he moves around, he's got the throw that looks like he's, checking your groin for contraband before you go into the Motley Crue concert or whatever.
That's exactly what it looks like. That is such an annoying animation. I hate that they mix up the throw animations, like, why you gotta do that? I can hardly react to these things as it is, let alone when you change the animation like that.
I mean, that's the point, right? Is just to make it stronger. He's just got that extra little advantage that's unique to him.
Yep, that's true. Liu Kang got a special cancel off the 121 string, I think, and I believe that's a 6 frame startup.
That's a 6 framer. Yep. So full combo off of the. Don't go -7 now for real, regardless of cameo against Liu Kang.
Yeah, you're getting slapped for that. I'm not really sure why they decided to do that. I mean, I get that Liu Kang isn't like the most exciting character, but I definitely didn't think he was in need of any help. Like, he's got the strongest strike throw in the game, armor breaking, good counter zoning, very, very good cameo synergy. But I guess they weren't seeing as much of him as they wanted to, so up he goes.
And kept his kind of identity intact, right? Is that people talk about he's got that dead zone. He's really strong full screen. He's really strong in your face, but all that space in between is kind of like his blind spot.
Yeah, you can really throw in random dragon kicks trying to get in, you know, just hoping one lands. Kenshi got a little bit of a buff here. One of his strings can now be special canceled, and another one of his, was it his overhead? Way back punch recovers 7 frames faster. So just small changes, but good for Kenshi, I guess. I saw Diddle playing somebody the other day, and they were using the Jax cameo every time they got an opportunity to just slap Sento. It was like the most cheap stuff I've ever seen. I didn't even think of using it like that, but yeah, as soon as like Kenshi stopped doing a move, Jax comes in, slaps Sento, gets off the screen, then just goes to town on Kenshi. Sento comes back in, starts doing his thing. Jax comes out, slaps Sento, goes away, and I was like, oh, like hard counterplay to that character.
Diddle's a Kenshi player, or at least used to be. If he's not playing Kenshi now, so he definitely knows where all the the opportunities to do stuff like that are.
Well, Diddle was the one playing Kenshi, so he.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
So he was kind of.
Someone's doing that to him.
Yeah, and he was just kind of shaking his head every time they did it. Like, what's the point? What's the point of this character? Small little buff to Ashra, little damage increase for her sins, which I already checked is also a small little buff for Shujinko. He gets those damage buffs as well. So thanks for that. And
yeah, that's unskilled damage too. So that is a guaranteed. What do they hit for? 60 or something? Or no, they only hit for.
It's 30 damage now. It used to be 20.
It was 20. Now it's 30. So yeah, if with a full stack, that's an unskilled 90 damage in your combo.
That is really good. And definitely they've slowly kind of put more and more into the hell mode, it seems. Like she started out just everyone just used the heaven stuff, and then you saw some people kind of going into the hell side of things, and now I think they're really trying to push that more as well, just to kind of complete her kit.
She's way more fun. I kind of wish it was. I mean, heaven's so strong because of the projectile. And that's been a big argument for that. I remember Titanium Tigers talking about that a lot when the game first launched. He's like, why would I ever be in dark mode? Like, and losing that projectile is really, really painful, in his opinion. But I think dark mode's like way more fun. And I wish it was like the other way around, where dark mode or hell mode was the main one. And then when it's like, oh, I'm not full screen, I got to be more patient and start doing like whatever, then you go into, well, I don't know. You could play either mode either way, right? It's personal preference, but it is nice that they're starting to kind of incentivize at least dipping in there to get some debuffs and then dip back out.
Well, you see like guys like Desda and Young Monster who will play mostly in hell mode and abuse that to teleport. Yeah. It's super cool.
Dude, it's so flashy. It's so... Dude, Young Monster especially. I mean, it reminds me of like MKX, the joys of like all that sort of stuff in MKX. Just a lot of actions per minute, and it's kind of like, am I +1 or am I -7? Like, if you don't know, and even if you do know, you got to be on your toes and kind of react to like what's going on.
Right.
Find your opportunity to poke out, and if you're too anxious about that, you do that too early, you do that at the wrong time. If they can hit confirm, then GG's.
It's true. It's true, man. I do want to get to my 2 characters that I've been playing. I saved the best for last here. So starting with Li Mei, her calculated back kick, front kick, back kick recovers 7 frames faster. So this is a new combo launcher for her in the corner. And if it's blocked, she's +6, I believe. So a really good mix up. And then she also has the mix off the 4-3-2-1 as well, which is gapless. So if they try and abuse a gap in the 4-3-4, there is a pretty sizable gap in that between that last hit, but she's got a way to kind of cover that outside of using a cameo as well.
That's the one you can poke through, right? The one you can just do a standing one, just blast right through it.
Just blast right through it. Armor, if you want to be safe, you know, doesn't. It's got a pretty generous gap. So, but again, plus on block, and it launches, so that's cool. Still confused about the air enhanced flipping heel kick, no longer more negative when flawless blocked. I think we tested that at one point in time, and it seems to be maybe left over from the last patch, unless they changed something that I couldn't really figure out.
Maybe they included that on accident, because
yeah. I don't. Still, I'm trying to figure that out. And then the Sky Lantern detonated by Nova Blast now hits overhead. Was mid. Kind of cool. I'd be interested because I think I was looking, and this just literally just popped in my head when we were testing this the other week. When Li Mei steals the Bone Dome, the lantern gets actually like sucked into the Bone Dome. So I wonder if that's an overhead as well. I should lab that, because that would be really good. Because otherwise, like, I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess it's cool, but like, there's no mix up there. It's like the lantern's gonna hit you. Like, oh no, it's always an overhead. No low option.
Really, really, there's no ambush with a low option in the entire game. No Tremor Meatball, no Kung Lao low hat, no nothing. You don't think that you could mix that up with full screen?
Certainly not a Frost Bomb.
No, but I think low hat and the meatball probably have potential for that.
That's true. I actually didn't even think of cameos at all. That's how my little pea brain works. So yeah, you could do like a little low hat, then mix up full screen. So that gives her a little bit more neutral stuff. I never even thought about that. Good thinking there, hater. This is why I'm not allowed.
Yeah, well, that was my thinking. That was like a Foxy Grandpa, I think that was something that Ketchup and Mustard mentioned when they were streaming, and they'd mentioned that's what Foxy's like first idea, like when he saw the video that was released the day before. That's kind of like what he was already kind of like anticipating. I don't know if it works, but it's definitely a thought, and would make more sense why they would change it to an overhead. Just make you block it specifically.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I didn't really think of that. So that's the May, and it's time for the main course, Quan Chi. Oh, my boy finally got some buffs. So the Psycho Skull being way faster is such a nice change. Being able to get like a full combo off of standing 4, like full screen, that makes that move way scarier, which kind of leads into the buff on his second buff, which is making his kick an overhead, because people are going to be ducking that standing 4 even more because it's a full combo now. So then you're smacking him with the overhead. It's just like a super smart way to kind of buff his zoning and space control. And also it gives him a bit of a combo extender, because if you do something that, like, for example, if I'm doing like Shujinko stuff into like, say, Scorpion Spear, and I can do standing 4 enhanced Psycho Skull as like my launcher, and start that way and get some more damage. So just already super. And then in the corner, oh my god, that 17 frame overhead and a 16 frame low, like, get schmixed. Like, why even have my back 2 anymore, you know? Why am I put my armpits in the air at this point? My 26 framer, you know?
Right. How much? I mean, the back 2 you can start to weave in once you know that they're going to hold it, right? Once you really have them conditioned. But yeah, the change to that being like an overhead really helps keep it kind of like all pinned down. And it's hard to. They're both fast enough that they're like borderline reactable for somebody with like almost inhuman like reactions, right? Especially online. But even like his animation, if you're just trying to react to. The legs just look too similar before you realize that it's the back 3 and not the, what is it, down forward 4?
Yeah, down forward 4. That's yeah, and like I will say, like, the tracking on it isn't really that great. I saw Burrito Voorhees posting about how it kind of whiffs, but I don't really think it's meant to like stop people from coming in. We have other moves for that, like his projectiles, standing 3, tentacle especially, because now they're coming in, now you have that overhead kick and low tentacle, you know? So that's kind of cool. And then, yeah, his 2-1-4. So this creates an interesting mix off of the 2-1-3, which isn't a true mix, but like if they are slow to blocking that overhead, then that will combo into the Psycho Skull now, which is super cool. And then it's safe on block if you just, because you can't really hit confirm it that well. So if you just throw it out there, you're safe on block. I think a -1, something like that.
Okay.
So overall, some really nice changes that are going to make Quan Chi really, really fun. Already seeing people using his standing 4 into the skull for like ridiculous damage full screen. Like Sector Cameo was hitting like 470 damage full screen. Lots of resources, and these are more like combo video type stuff, but it's cool to know that he has those type of capabilities.
Showing you what's possible, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm super excited to get into him. Played some games yesterday, had a blast. Accidentally end a move on the screen because I was mashing so hard. Oh,
that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that had me dying.
We've all been there. We've all been like in the middle of a combo, then the PS share thing comes up, and you're like, "What the fuck?" Because you just accidentally hit the button while you're slapping your controller.
Yeah, it was a nice reminder to put pause delay on my alternate profile because I didn't have that on, so it was kind of nice. But just needed to remind you all that I needed us to remember what Sorcerer Smack button was.
Sorcerer, that's like magic heroin.
Magic heroin, yeah, the Sorcerer's Smack. him and Shang just sitting in the back alley somewhere.
Yeah, like their eyes all rolled into the back of their head.
You got any more of that Sorcerer's Smack? Good times. So we haven't even gotten to the cameo portion of this yet. Not as much meat and potatoes to go by here. Frost's Ice Crash has 23 frames of invulnerability, so it's basically a full-blown wake-up attack. I did notice that if you just go ahead and do this move on wake up, it makes it -20. There's a fair amount of pushback, but it's -20.
Yeah, no, that's how all of the cameo wake ups work, except for I think Janet's Nut Punch is still safe, but most Sonya's overhead that's normally plus also turns to like -20 if you use it as a reversal or a wake up. So that's like been baked into the game, but it's gonna keep him from getting like stuffed. It's like so easy to meaty and stuff a cameo wake up. Serena's probably got the fastest, I would say, like one of the fastest, and she still gets stuffed from time to time, but I didn't see any changes to her, so I'm wondering because they made this change to Sub-Zero as well, right?
Yeah,
So,
and Darius. And they took away the flawless block on that last hit as well of Twister Kicks, so you can't even make it unsafe anymore. So
no, I was always flexing on that.
I know that. I always felt good.
That's it's one of the easier flawless blocks in the game. So,
but you never see Darius, right? So it's like you hit it and you're like, hell yeah, I have some really niche knowledge.
Yep.
So I actually don't. Could he be the only cameo that has a safe on block wake up then?
No, Janet nut punch is.
Oh, you
safe.
just okay. I think my brain reversed that and said it was unsafe. So Goro now does the most damage out of any throw in the game. And my theory on this was that because his cooldowns are so bad that you can use his throw to kill some time and get some more damage. He's still doing stuff for you while he's recharging. That's my best guess at what this change was. Do you have any thoughts on Goro?
Not that we haven't already discussed before. That's all they changed about him. 150 is nothing to sneeze at. I think that's really good for a throw. Like you said, that's because before Janet and Sonya had the highest with 140.
Yep.
Before he was at 110, which is like in line with all the roster characters' back throws. Like kind of like the baseline. A few throws are less than that, but those are ones that like I think Jax is less than that and Cyrax is less than that, but they can spend meter to Jax can spend meter to extend, and I'm not sure how much if you spend 2 bars his throw ends up doing, and then Cyrax you get a full combo for 2 bars.
Yeah, I think Jax is like 170 or 190 or something like that.
Okay.
I know it like can go up to like the 300s if he catches an up block. which is kind of obnoxious, but it is what it is. The Sector cameo we've talked about already. It's now a high. Scorpion, Hellblade's refill slightly increased, and 3 frames faster on block. Recovers 3 frames faster.
Yeah, that's why people haven't been using Scorpion cameo.
Yeah,
it's because the dang overhead comes back so slow.
He's just stuck out there forever. So I don't know. A little change for Scorpion. Sub-Zero, probably one of the big winners of this patch. Sub-Zero cameo. So the Arctic armor can now absorb infinite hits. Before it was just 4 hits. So now you just throw that baby on. Because like, as Quan, it used to be 2 purple skulls, and it broke it. And it was, easy. So this is like, it's kind of like they wanted to take baby steps with this thing. That was going to be like the anti-zoning tool, but they didn't want to like hard commit to just giving you projectile invulnerability. Which is another nice part of Quan having those physical attacks that he can break that armor with standing forward, down, forward, 4. You sound like you had an important thought there.
I think that that armor has been whatever they had intended it to be, and what it is now is them discussing amongst themselves, well, how can we make Striker relevant again, right? How can we do something like and decrease the cooldown on grenades to what they used to be, especially given that we've given them new moves in the meantime, and like the full cameo rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat-a like sort of thing.
Right.
What I'm talking about, the move I'm talking about.
Rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat.
They're like, so how can we do that and not have just a mess on our hands? And they were like, well, if we made Sub-Zero armor, like if it literally everybody in an option, or every single player at least has a way to opt out of that. If you don't like whatever block into grenades and holding that shit all day, then just choose Sub-Zero and get your ambush ice armor up, and then you don't have to worry about respecting anything extra on block. Just take your turn, right? You still block, so the armor's still on you, which means that you're going to go right through the grenades. That's what I think is kind of like why they did it. In most other scenarios, I think that it's super overpowered, don't you think? Infinite hits, it's just timed.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a good way to shut down Sector, because Sector's going to be just throwing missiles at you the whole time, and you put it on there, like, what's she supposed to do? Like, now she's got to come and fight you. Oh no,
There's no knocking it off of you. Like, her projectiles were never like fast enough, really, I don't think, to ever break it before it expired anyway.
No.
Well,
at least a little less scary.
I don't know. But I think they did that just because they were buffing Striker. I don't know that for a fact. That's where my brain took it.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I definitely would agree with that. Also got invulnerability on wake up attack on the cold shoulder. Movado got a little slap on the wrist here with the refill rates decreased after use of the best feet forward and nin drop. So we'll see if that has any effect on. I believe this change in tandem with the Havoc changes will kind of shift up the meta quite a bit here. We'll see if see what happens at Final Combat, and Versus fighting is next weekend as well, so that'll be interesting to watch. Jax goes full screen, or at least significantly increased range, it says. Tremor, when he's interrupted, now has 10-second cooldown. That's a long time, and it's pretty easy.
That is a long time.
It's pretty easy to smack Tremor out of some stuff, especially on block, I've noticed, because some people, if they're to keep it plus or whatever, or safe, they have to do him pretty late, and he's still on the screen. You just throw him a little poke, then he gone for 10 seconds. So he still does all the broke stuff.
Like people deliberately bringing him out to body block projectiles and stuff, like that's over, right? I feel like this is a direct answer to that. Everything else is every other situation's a consequence, but no more of that bullshit.
No more of that. That's done. We don't like that meta. It's we saw that's like Kanimani was doing that really, really well at Evo.
Yep.
Just using that to win the projectile trades, but no more. He already does a whole bunch of stuff for you. You don't need to use him as a meat shield. And then I think the real winner in the cameo section is Striker. Like, all of his moves, but basically refill rates increased. So I don't know. People are saying Striker era is back. We'll see. It's still like 2 days into the patch, but I mean, unsafe stuff into grenades is back. Are we stoked for that? Is that something that we're cheering for and saying, yay, Striker stuffs, you know? What an interesting cameo.
Yeah, I don't know why I have it so separated in my brain. Like, say, like Baraka Striker, and it's, Baraka doing Baraka things by doing his 444 into his down forward 2 big block string into something like grenades, and then just repeats that, right, for this big sequence of, chip, unless you're getting your flawless blocks in there. My brain accepts that way more easily than something like neutral skip special move that's normally negative 30, is now made safe or plus or full combo if, your reptile brain took over and saw, oh yeah, I've, been punishing this move like a Sub-Zero slide or whatever for like 30 years. And then you get blown up by grenades and stuff. That's the
Right.
scrub in me or whatever, and it's not like the block strings wouldn't be, just as negative, but something about like, okay, block pressure is one thing, but just get in for free, one way ticket to poke range, sort of stuff that's kind of irritating personally.
Yeah, and it's still early, but we'll see. When I turned on Tweety stream yesterday, he was playing Baraka Striker. So I mean, I was like, okay.
That was the team that he was playing before they nerfed Striker.
Yep. Yeah, I think that was his OG team. I think Baraka Cyrax and then Baraka Striker after that. In the Striker meta, but we'll see. All in all, I'm really happy with this patch. They did kind of what I wanted them to do. They toned down the top and they brought up the mids. I'm surprised Tanya didn't get anything. I expect that she'll get probably something in the next patch, but I think I can say if I had to pick right now a worst character in the game, she'd probably have to be it.
What can they do for her, like frame data wise?
I don't know. I wish I could tell you.
I feel like most people say she needs a whole redesign, and that is not happening.
That is definitely not happening. So I feel like she's a hard one to balance because she's got these huge buttons, right? I think if you like decreased some of her damage scaling, because I think that's one of the main problems that she has, right? Is that she just doesn't hit very hard, so she's not really that scary. She's got like good buttons, good spacing, decent counter zoning, and some super cool stuff that they added with her stances and whatnot. So maybe just give her a little bit more damage.
And she's got some tech, and she's got to work for it and stuff. And she can be super swaggy, like really stylish and stuff. Like for people like starting with the character and playing a character really basic, and then like kind of like growing into it, I think that she gets really boring really fast because she's like just a forward 2 machine.
Right.
Like her layer 1 is just like, it's just so boring. It's just,
Yeah, it's kind of like Liu Kang.
I lose interest really fast.
Forward 2, 1-1 into whatever. Liu Kang forward 4-3 into whatever, effective, but just not very exciting. So, but
right.
She definitely can be. Like, I'm Black James plays her with Darius, and that team is super crazy, the amount of stuff that they're doing. So, I don't know. We'll see. All in all, I could not be happier with this patch. I hope that nothing disgustingly broken comes out of it. But so far, it seems like they've kind of shuffled things around. Hopefully, we won't see a billion T1000s in Combat League anymore. Yeah, overall thoughts here?
We'll see how the chess pieces shuffle, around who... it's going to make versus fighting super, super interesting to see. That's going to be our transition from like the old meta to whatever this new one's going to shake up to be, right? Some people in denial and trying to play like old world teams that don't, or showing that it still works, right? It wasn't maybe nerfed, but not totally kneecapped and stuff. But by Final Combat, we'll have a better feel for it. But again, that's only like 2 tournaments, right? How long does it take for stuff like that to flesh out?
Yeah.
So
totally. I definitely agree. Speaking of versus fighting, I actually have the brackets up right now. just want to go over that really quick. Video games, yo. I feel like we haven't seen video games, yo, in a while. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention, but maybe they, because of the last two events were like Evo and down in Brazil, maybe he just didn't want to travel as much, but excited to see him.
Or hasn't had the opportunity to travel, but I've seen him a bunch this tour circuit. But Versus Fighting's in the UK, isn't it?
Yeah, his stomping ground. And then in the same pool is Snake Doe. So Snake Doe on his own world tour, trying to get those points in, like 9th at Evo this year. So be interesting to see. And then in that same bracket, you have Lavender Rain. You got Subby. Kanakon's a name I recognize. So that'll be interesting.
Very good. Very good player. Did you see Mr. Aquaman's little breakdown of points? And he was kind of talking about in the comments how Snake Doe is really the kind of like wild card that's going to shake things up. Depending on how well he does is going to determine how a lot of the point distribution and stuff is going to work.
Right. That's imagine having that much power, you know? How you do affects like how everything else lands, you know?
Yeah, he's done well enough and was able to travel just enough to be like in this position that, you know, a lot could change. Like if he doesn't place at all and get any points versus, you know, he makes it to top 8, you know, versus, you know, whatever it ends up being.
And then in the next, there's only 2 pools. There's only 44 entrants in this event. The next pool is Gur's top seed, and then second seed is Dialock, who is also one who I'm pretty sure is like on the brink of qualifying. Especially seeing Dialock and Snake though, like in the same event in the situation that they're in.
Right.
That's pretty cool. And I will say, it is weird to me to not see Foxy Grandpa be either top seeds. Looks coming in about 4th seed here, but still there.
I just don't think that he's competed as much, right? He doesn't have he obviously has the reputation and the history and stuff, but not hasn't been as active, I guess, this tour circuit.
Yeah, I guess he's kind of like switched it into content creator mode more for this game. Has traveled within like Europe and stuff. I think he was in Vietnam, if I remember correctly. But just didn't. I don't know what it is. I've seen him playing a lot of MK11 actually, so I don't know what it is about this game that he's just heart wasn't in it, or again he's just switching to content creator mode, which he's doing fairly well in. So
it's way more practical.
Definitely, yeah, definitely, because that amount of traveling, especially since a lot of the events are in North America, can be pretty taxing on the old wallet. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see who does what with which characters. I imagine Dialogue probably not straying too far from General Shao and his teams there. I don't think any changes for Shao in this one. He's the same, which
right.
Which sometimes it's okay if you see no changes for your character, you know, you're like, okay, you know, oof, they're safe kind of idea. So, and then I would imagine Gur would probably go in with Gyros Motaro, unless he's found another cameo that does something better for him, but I don't really see too much of a shakeup that would change that, but who knows?
I don't see Gyros Striker being premiered by Gur or anything.
No, or Garrus Jax, Garrus Darius. That's just fun to say, Garrus Darius. Sounds like some like scientific description of like a fish or something. You see that trout over there? That's the Garrus Darius, you know.
they bonded over the same haircut.
The same haircut. That's funny. So yeah, next weekend Versus Fighting, we'll have a lot of questions, and it'll be a fun watch. I'm looking forward to watching it. Hopefully we get to talk about it next week on the podcast, and we can give our 2 cents on where the meta is at. So that being said, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week, usual time. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, because it really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't. I make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
accept your death.